briefing to you, the media, about Fruit Logistica 2023. I wanted to say that in a moment we'll be talking to Kai Mangelberger, who's the project manager of Fruit Logistica, and then to Mike Knowles, the managing director of Fruitnet Europe, who's who's responsible for putting together not only so much of the program here at Fruit Logistica, but also the very important trend report that's just been released. This is you're all colleagues, so if you want to, please, we don't have to wait till the end. If you have any questions, please just indicate to me and I'll come to you if you have a question. I know that Kai very kindly is going to speak in English today. His English is perfect, but his Berlinisch, is that right?
Berlinerisch, yeah.
Berlinerisch is even better, so I know that there are various colleagues from the German press that you're going to be talking to in Hochdeutsch and also in Berlinerisch.
Lieber Hochdeutsch, das dürfte besser klappen.
A little later, so just to discuss some of the big things that are happening here at Fruit Logistica 2023, and we wanted to have this kind of informal event, although I see that there are lights and microphones, so it feels rather formal, but an informal discussion with you, the press, to inform you about what's happening and what some of the big things that are happening at Fruit Logistica 2023 this year. And it's great that we don't have to sit and look at each other on a screen, that we can sit here and be almost within contact with one another, which makes a nice change. And that's where perhaps, Kai, we can start, because we're back here for the first time since 2020?
For the welcome reception, indeed, and that we have a press conference live. It's the first time since 2020. Fruit Logistica was one of the last events taking place in Berlin.
Yeah, and it's great that we can be back here again, live and in person for this event in 2023. And I thought we'd start, because this is always the question that everybody who ever comes to Fruit Logistica, to any trade show, asks, and it's not just the media who ask this, it's all of us who ask this. What is happening? What are the key figures? What are the big numbers here at Fruit Logistica this year that we all want to know?
Yeah. So let's start with the numbers. Fruit Logistica will be even more international than ever this year. We have 2,610 exhibitors from 92 countries. This means there are more countries than even before the pandemic this year. And we expect about 140 visitors. 140, visitors from 140 countries. A little bit more, yeah, sorry. No.
We have about 60 people here, so...
cancel that one. No, 140 countries, and we will use 27 exhibition halls for the entire value-added chain as usual.
And the visitors we've got from 140 countries, that's about the same, or is that more than before, Kai, do you think?
Well, for the visitors, the final number of visitors as well as the final number of countries we will see after the event, because at the moment we are selling still tickets, about 250 tickets per hour. So the ticket number is still rising, and with them also the number of countries. It will be at least as much as last year. Well, we'll see.
Now, I should have mentioned this earlier, actually. We've had all these challenges over previous years, and here's immediately another dreadful event that's happened within the last 48 hours, and this is this dreadful earthquake in the southeast of Turkey, in the north of Syria. I know that Syria is not present here, but Turkey very definitely is here at Fruit Logistica. Could you say something about that?
Yeah, we have a strong Turkish participation at the City Cube, so they have a new location, a new stand system. They have booked almost half of the Hall B, and we have even more participants from Turkey than before the pandemic again. So they have even increased their participation in terms of exhibitors, and now this happened, which is definitely a disaster, another one.
But it affects you at Fruit Logistica to the extent that this family that comes back together every year, we've now got a family that's, well, grieving for what has happened in their country. You're going to go visit the Turkish pavilion tomorrow and the Turkish exhibitors.
Yes, we will do also a tour, and beside this, our colleagues from Turkey just arrived. I haven't had the chance to talk to them yet, but of course it will be also a big topic, I think, among all of us on at the fair.
Now tell us, Kai, how is the sector responding? How has it responded to these, to the fact that we're here again in person? We were online. We were kind of online for a couple of years. We're back in person again, having done the event in April last year. We're back to the dates that we've always had at Fruit Logistica. Tell us some of the things that have happened, or the things that you expect to happen.
First of all, we see everyone is relieved that we are back to the original date, back to February, back to normal, you could say. We have the normal halls, we have the normal date, we have the normal exhibitors. So I think normal is more or less a new extraordinary. So last year was extraordinary because it was different, but it took place. And this year it's extraordinary because we are back to a Fruit Logistica, how it used to be, how it should be. And that's already great. And I think this feeling you could see already in advance when we spoke to the exhibitors, when you have a look into social media. It's good to be back, like always. And as you said in the beginning, we have the welcome reception, a networking event like Fruit Logistica, which is part of Fruit Logistica. And that's why everyone is coming here, to network, to meet in person again.
And we're back, Fruit Logistica is back not just in Berlin, but also in Hong Kong.
Indeed, there we had also, like we had in Berlin, the situation that we have a special solution in April. The same referred to Asia Fruit Logistica, so they will also return to the normal date in September, and also to the previous location, meaning back to Hong Kong.
You mentioned about this question of everything coming back to normal. You talked about the figures, the 2,610 exhibitors from 92 countries, and the visitors from 140 different countries. Could we look a little bit about who these people are and where they're from? Tell us something about that.
So we have exhibitors again from every continent, but we realized that out of this 92 countries we have, about 40 countries even increased their total space compared to before the pandemic. So for 40 countries. And among them is especially the biggest one, the Spanish participation, which is now bigger than 2020.
So that would mean is that the biggest Spanish participation we've ever had?
The biggest participation from Spain we ever had. So they're occupying 4 halls with about 11,000 square meters. And that of course shows the importance also, I think, of the Spanish as export nation for fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm. And this, I should have also mentioned, and I didn't, but this is in the 30th anniversary year of Fruit Logistica.
Yeah. We're taking place for the 30th time, so we started in 1993, and we'll celebrate it tonight a little bit, but our focus is of course the future. We look into the future, not to the past. As trade fair, I think we're interested in celebrating the future, getting new ideas. So today we will celebrate the 30, but it's not the main topic of this trade fair. It's the products and the exhibitors.
And I'll come to Mike in a moment about some of the challenges that we've talked about in Mike's trend report. But it's clear that, and you mentioned it a moment ago, we've had some very difficult years, the pandemic, and now the consequences through the sector of the war in Ukraine. The ongoing inflation that we have, and now this terrible earthquake in Turkey. How do you think the mood of the fresh fruit and vegetable sector, if you can judge that, how do you think it is coming into Berlin this year? It must be quite tense and difficult, right?
I think it's a difficult situation, indeed. There are so many crises, different crises. I think this industry is used to handle crisis. They have usual regional crisis, so there might be a bad harvest or a strike of dock workers, but this time we have a multiple crisis, and not only regional but a global one. So at this global fair, I think we still have some answers for them. And what I really, so I'm also kind of new to this industry, but I saw already that they are very resilient when it comes to crisis. They find solutions, and still they're, according to my impression, they are very optimistic, looking for solutions. And I think we have offers for the different things: irrigation systems, smart agri, well, different solutions.
And tell us, Kai, what is new? What can we expect to see new at Fruit Logistica in 2023?
So, when it refers to Fruit Logistica, we worked at our hall layout. So, for the first time, we have our segment Machinery and Technology, which is the biggest part behind the fresh produce part. They will be at the south entrance at level 1. We will have 6 halls, very close together, directly at the entrance, where we have the machinery and technology, including smart agri, greenhouse technology, the tech ups, the startup stage, the tech stage. So that's a very compact area now, while the fresh produce is now exclusively on the upper floor. So we have mixed a little bit the years before, and now we have a very good system, I think, for the trade visitors to find what they're looking for. And so the fresh produce exhibitors from the floor 1 move to the City Cube, among them Turkey, but also Middle East and North Africa. So I think that we have there a good combination and attractive exhibitors. In addition, we will have a free a free welcome coffee over there for those visitors who arrive early at the trade fair. 1 hour between 8 and 9, we offer free coffee to them. They can start a kind of early bird networking just before the fair starts.
This is all part of trying to improve the experience for visitors coming to Berlin, to Fruit Logistica.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Good. Okay, do I have any questions for Kai at this moment before we move over to Mike? No? Okay. Mike, coming to you. I mentioned you're the Managing Director of Fruitnet Europe and responsible for putting together, with your colleagues in Fruitnet,